Boom! Jeremy Corbell just told Russell Brand on a recent interview that we, the United States government, is in contact with the beings. This is huge. Get in here, let's talk about it. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like. Please subscribe and smash the bell to be notified of future videos. Please share this video when it drops on social media. I'd be super appreciative. And please join me there. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. I'd love to see you there. And please comment on the story as I'm going through it. Okay, Jeremy Corbell just did an epic interview with Russell Brand. I love Russell. He thinks outside the box. He's an independent thinker. I really appreciate that in this day and age. And Jeremy Corbell gives an explosive interview with him. He talks about how we have reverse engineered, or we are trying at least to reverse engineer alien vehicles, and that they are very much alien. And he talks about a lot. He talks about how we have contact with the beings themselves. Whether or not they're trustworthy. He even talks about whether they're trustworthy or not. He talks about the nature. What is alien? What does that mean? Hinting, I think, at some extra dimensional aspect or even metaphysical aspect to these beings. And he talks about adversaries, China or Russia, getting their hands on alien technology and how this is a real fear. Now, possibly most exciting of all, he talks about how he is shortly to present whistleblowers that are in the reverse engineering program. If he could produce those guys, if they would come forward with some way to corroborate their story, whether that's physical proof or something else, that could be a huge game changer. That could blow this thing wide open. So let's go ahead and hear from Jeremy. Here is what he had to say on the interview with Russell, and then I'll give my thoughts on it. Here goes.
Right. So I don't need to believe. I don't have the luxury of disbelief about this. It is my job to speak with people in different levels of government and the military and pilots. And, look, man, I don't have the luxury of disbelief. I know for certain, and it has been proved to me beyond a shadow of a doubt, that we have full intact craft and machines that we have been trying to reverse engineer. And I'll just say it, man, these machines, they're not from here. Whoever built these appear to be a non-human intelligence. Now, where they're from, because the word extraterrestrial means just not from Earth, but also the word alien. What is alien? Alien is anything that is alien to us, right? So I know for certain that there have been limited comms or communications with whoever these builders, we'll just call them occupants or builders of these craft are. Now, are we being told the truth when we've had these comms with these builders or occupants, right? And that I have no idea. How could I possibly know? But I do know that we have reverse engineering exploitation programs for non-terrestrial technology, and I have brought forward witnesses. I brought forward witnesses publicly as well as privately. I brought witnesses forward. So within government, people know who they are. And I will be bringing a lot more people forward that have actually worked on these technologies. Verified, bona fide, no mystery. They've been part of these reverse engineering SAP's special access programs. So look, man, it's happening. Now, what is the implication of this? And that's the huge question you just asked. How could I possibly know? I know for me, I feel like I have a right to know, a need to know, and a personal duty to find out. But I also believe the global public has too. Look at it this way. If our universe, if the fabric of our reality, if the nature and the topography of what we understand to be real is vastly different than what we are being told, and that is known by certain parties, from mathematics and physics and material science to just the idea that we are not alone in the universe, and not only that, but we have had contact for a long durational period. Maybe we can't trust those we've had contact with. That's a big deal. Now, the reason for the secrecy, dude, This is like so obvious once you really grasp it. It's so simple. This technology can be weaponized. We're talking about weapons of mass destruction. The actual propulsion system in these craft are gravitational. If anybody can catch up with the material science to making these materials, which you would need atomic layering in a zero gravity environment, if we were able to replicate that, let's say China does, let's say Russia does, all of a sudden what happens is that country has an advantage beyond anything that has ever occurred in the history of humankind. So this is being taken very seriously by people within our Defense Department. I can attest to that personally, that I know that to be true. This is not a fringe topic. This is classified at the highest level of national security within your government, within my government. Now, we got some goodies, and we're trying to work on them. But the big question is, how does it change humanity? How does it change the way that we interact with our family? How does it change the way that we prioritize our jobs, our work, what we do with our life? Once we learn that we are part of a bigger ecosystem, a cosmic ecosystem, and that distance and space and time is irrelevant to travel, it changes the way that we deal with fossil fuels. It changes the way that we deal with our basic understanding of interfacing through electronics and communications. It changes everything, and it changes it now. We are slow to grow. That is true about humanity. We are slow to grow. But the thing is, we're smart, we're capable, and we do grow. It's time they open the books on the UFO topic.
Wasn't that fascinating? That was one of the best snippets of any conversation on the subject I've ever heard, because it could actually propel things forward. It is a teaser of what is to come if Jeremy is on the level, if his sources are on the level, if they do have the courage to come out of the shadows and talk about this, if they actually come forward to the American people, excuse me, and talk about reverse engineering alien vehicles, and they have some way to corroborate their story, that would not only propel the conversation and kick it into a new gear, that would be disclosure. That would be some form of disclosure, and that could be a game changer, not just in ufology, but the way the public sees the phenomenon and the reality of the phenomenon. This is massive. He also talks about things like, what is the nature of alien? What does that mean? I think he's hinting at some sort of extra dimensional or, metaphysical explanation for at least some of what we are seeing in the skies and what people are interacting with. He also talks about spies that may try to steal some of this alien technology, and that's why it's such a classified thing. And of course, we can all see why that would be the case. If China or Russia got their hands on technology, they could do these amazing things. I think the Ukraine already would have been won a long time ago, right? And so would Taiwan. So I think we can safely say that if they do have any technology like that, it's not very far along in their efforts to reverse engineer it. So that's good. At the same time, I have to wonder if even the U.S. government is the right hands for this technology, based on, what's been going on the last few years, especially. It's not a great look for what's been going on, and it's kind of dark days indeed. But that's where his comment about actual contact, or comms, as he likes to say, with the beings is so interesting, because if we are in contact with them, he says it may be a limited contact. If we are in contact with them, you would hope that they would help us use this technology wisely. Now, I have reported on many times the evidence that we seem to have had advanced technology in the past, at least since the 60s, that the beings were helping us develop this stuff. And there are multiple sources for that, and multiple witnesses that saw advanced ships with humans coming out of them. And we're not talking about, Nordics. We're talking about guys in Air Force suits. So we do seem to have had ARVs, or at least human-operated UFOs, if you will, since the 1960s. Unless that's all a very well done systematic disinfo campaign being done over decades with very disparate sources, which seems like an unlikely way to roll out a disinformation campaign. So I'm inclined to believe those sources. So what does it mean that they are now possibly about to reveal the existence of the ships and the reverse engineering them and the crash retrieval program? Well, I've talked about that before. On this channel, that will be the first stage of disclosure. They will say, yeah, we've got ships. We've been tinkering with them. I've talked about this multiple times on this very channel, that is likely to be the first stage of any disclosure. They're not going to admit that there's beings running around or that they're interacting with them or there's abductions or any of that. They're not going to say that. That's going to be far down the road. What they're going to say is, yeah, we found some ships and we've been tinkering with them. That is as far as they're going to go. And, that's just the way it is. And maybe that's the way it should be. You can argue yes or no. I'd rather have all the worms out of the can and just deal with it and go from there. And it'll be a messy few years, I think, as the public digests that and moves on. But at least it'll be done and it'll rip the Band-Aid off. But I can see the wisdom in ripping it off slowly, and maybe that would be best for society as a whole. I get that. So whether that's true or not, whether it should be ripped off slowly or fast, I do think that is the first step. Saying to the American public and to the world, yeah, we've got ships, and we've been tinkering with them. And further along the way, they'll say, yeah, we found some bodies. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, sorry we hid it from you for so long. Or maybe they'll say, oh, well, we weren't hiding anything. We had them stored away in some freezer somewhere, and somebody signed the wrong paperwork, and nobody knew about it. Who knew? Well, what's going on? This is all new to me. Yeah, we're not responsible for that or criminally liable for any of this. So I think that's how it's going to roll. That's how it's going to unroll. Eventually, far down the process, they'll say, yeah, maybe some aliens have taken some people, or maybe we've had some interaction with them. Maybe there's some contact going on. But it's going to be a process. But if they do come forward, and if Jeremy Corbell is able to produce them, then I think that will be the first step along this process. And that's a very good thing. So hats off, Jeremy. And I can't wait to hear, just to see what happens. So what do you think, guys? What is the next step going to be? Is Jeremy going to be able to produce these whistleblowers? And what is going to happen when he does? If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. Please smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. Find me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. I'd love to see you there, guys. And please share this video on social media if you get a chance. That would be much appreciated. Until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road signing out.